Don't be ashamed to learn things that you need to know. Here's Sexplanations with Dr. Doe.
Sexplanations podcast, episode 16. My name is Lindsay Doe. I'm a clinical sexologist, doctor of human sexuality, host of YouTube show Sexplanations, and a huge fan of comedy. I'm a huge fan of Michael Beers, actually, the co-host for today's episode on the always entertaining topic of dry humping. First, let's do some positive gossip about each other. I want to tell people about you, and then we'll switch off, and you can tell people about me.
Okay.
If I leave anything out, or if I say something that's incorrect, just chime in.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's what I have. Michael is a leader in the comedy scene here in Missoula. He's exceptionally funny and kind, bringing local, national, and international issues to the stage in ways that have personally opened my mind and changed the ways that I think. He's handsome, charming, and really active in the community, specifically improving the lives of people with disabilities and students at large.
Yeah, spot on. I do all those things all day long. Just 24/7.
I'm leaving things out, though.
No, you've exaggerated quite a bit. And in fact, I think half of those things are John Howard. But happy to take it.
He did the second episode.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Of
cool.
the Sexplanations podcast. So people know who he is when you make that reference.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
We were just talking before we started recording about bass.
Yes.
And I don't think I mentioned that. Can you?
Okay, elaborate on bass. So
Yeah.
bass is a kind of a culmination of a lot of the things you just mentioned. It is a community center in the Warehouse Mall here in Missoula. And it's a beautiful location. The building itself is the Warehouse Mall that, was the warehouse for the original Missoula Mercantile. So it's all 1880s original wood. Very inviting. And the reason it's called bass is very much based on any children's game. You specifically tag. Anybody, and it seems to be fairly universal, but even when I watch my nieces play, if you make up a game, the first thing you do is establish, well, where is base? And base universally means if my hand is here on this spot that we've designated, you cannot mess with me. No matter how weird the game gets, no matter how overwhelmed I feel, if I'm in this place, I can take a breath. I can look at the game around me. I can make a plan. I can get energy. But I can't stay here. I always have to take what I've gotten and received and go back to the game. But my ability to come back is infinite. I can always come back, but I can never stay.
Oh, Michael, this is so beautiful.
So wouldn't it be nice as a young adult or an adult or a person of any age to have a place like that in the community where you can go and be a teacher and a student and be a part of community.
Yeah.
And it really stemmed, it is a program of Summit Independent Living Center. So we're not our own nonprofit. And Summit, seeks to very simply, operates on the idea that everyone has a future. And specifically people with disabilities. But under our federal mandate, Summit itself serves primarily people with disabilities. But with BASE, we wanted to create an environment where we served all ages and abilities. And instead of telling an individual in high school or of any age with a disability, apparent or non-apparent, you should be a part of your community. You should be a part of Missoula. You should live independently. We wanted to exemplify that and provide a space where, it's hard to tell people to be a part of a community when you only provide services for people with disabilities. So at BASE, we collaborate a lot with Missoula's Homegrown Comedy. So the space is run by myself and comics volunteering. John and I, we were able to bring John in the last year. So we provide improv classes on Thursdays that are for everyone, and art classes and poetry classes and video game night.
When are you going to have sex ed?
Well, you have been on my list to call, Lindsay, for a long time, because that is something that overwhelmingly, when you talk to young people with disabilities of all kinds, whether it be physical or non-apparent, that's their barrier, is is social and community. They want a sense of community. But once you get past that and they get comfortable, they skirt around it. They say, well, what do you want? And they're like, well, I want friendship. And you say, well, okay, what kind of friendship? And like, well, somebody really close, and and they go, you have to push them, and eventually, oh, you want to get laid? Like, no, yeah, that's kind of. And for parents, even in the community, they've approached us to say, I have a son or daughter, or a child, and they've been a part of all these programs, but they've either aged out or they have nothing. They don't address sexuality at all. Right. But my child has a partner now, and they're exploring these things, and they feel pretty lost. So I don't feel comfortable providing that, but I do think, given where our bubbles overlap in this community, that if we sat down together, we could find something pretty cool to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Put that on the list.
Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
You probably know this, but working with people who have disabilities, specifically around their sexuality, is one of my greatest passions. Yeah. And I would love that. Okay, so that's base. Yeah. And the concept behind it is beautiful.
Yeah, we like it.
We have
way too much fun. We have to get you down to the space.
Okay. Thursday.
Thursday is our busiest day. We have video game night from 2 to 6, so it's just open gym for video game night, and we have systems going back to Atari on up, and it's just a great venue. And then after that, from 6:30 to 8, we do improv for the community. So, do you have Lemmings? Lemmings? Yeah. Do you remember that video game? Oh yes, I do. We do not. Not that I know of. We have hundreds of video games. We might. Okay. And then improv afterward. Yeah, but people are welcome to bring their own video games too. So if you have it, come down. Bring Lemmings, sex education. Yeah, are we running this? Okay. It's a podcast. We'll listen later. Okay, that sounds so fun. I want to talk to you more about dry humping. But before we do that, first of all, do you want to try doing a bio of me? A bio of you? Yeah. Yeah, I can try to do a bio of you. Okay. Lindsay Doe, a prominent Missoula community member and teacher at the University of Montana, as well as private counselor and therapist in sexuality, star and creator of Sexplanations. One of the greatest things to ever happen to YouTube or the internet at large. And really big fan of comedy and huge supporter and a great laugh is something that not only I have noticed, but a lot of comics. Yes, you have a great laugh. It's always great to see you. Aww, I love all of you. I love going to your shows. It's wonderful. That was really accurate. I am not teaching at the university anymore, though. Oh, I get to do this full time, which is wonderful. Very cool. Yeah, it's good. I myself left the university. So. High five to us. Let's be done with that. Yeah. So I do want to talk about dry humping with you. Mm-hmm. But first, a thank you to those who have gone to patreon.com/Sexplanations podcast and support what we're doing here, especially Laura Schuster, Paul Nixon, Donna Flint, Maddie O'Sullivan, and the Millers, who are pledged at the boss level. Each week on the Sexplanations podcast, we do a multiple choice question in their honor. Dr. Doe is holding testes. She's holding testes. I'm going to read a list of words that are alternatives for which of the following kinds of outer course. So outer course being another name for dry humping. Mm-hmm. A, femoral sex. B, mammary sex. C, gluteal sex. And D, digital sex. Mm. So if you're not familiar with the roots of those words, you have femoral, which is referring to the femur or a penetrative object between the thighs. Mammary would be the breasts. Gluteal would be the butt cheeks, and digital would be the fingers. Oh, okay. So here are the terms.
Bombay roll, bunny rub, diddy ride, Dutch fuck, French fuck, fuck a brisket, and titch.
Diddy Roll sounds like a hip-hop album from the 90s. Bad Boy Records presents Diddy Roll.
So which one do you think it is? So you're going to take
yeah.
that list,
Yeah.
and then all of those
Match
are
up
referring to the same type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
all of those are synonyms for which of the first four options?
Okay.
Thighs, breasts, butt, fingers.
I'm gonna say breasts.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Memories. Yeah. Good job.
All right.
Yeah. So
I'm not good at digital.
you're not good at digital?
I'm like 90%.
What would make you think that you're not good at digital?
Well, it's just in reference to fingers. I'm lacking.
You're lacking.
I'm missing one. So.
You're missing a finger. Okay, so they can't see you.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Like I
true.
can
This is
see
a
you.
podcast.
It's a podcast.
Oh.
So explain what you're referring to.
Oh, so I was born with a one thumb, so I don't have a 10 digits.
You were born with one thumb
Yes.
on one hand.
So I was born with my left thumb, but not my right thumb. And there is a thing that looks very much like a thumb, but it is in fact my index finger, because the doctors knew at a very young age that coffee cups would be a big part of my life. And
So they
very
made your
hard to-
index finger work like a thumb.
yeah, so I could hold coffee.
That was so considerate of them.
You know, I appreciate it.
Have you ever sent them a coffee cup that says "Best Doctor Ever"?
No, that's a really good idea, and I will say on this podcast, I will absolutely do that, knowing full well that it will never be done. So, it's an interesting story, though. Very quickly, I know we're short on time. I have a biological brother who I met much later in life. I think I was 12 and he was 6 at the time. He was born with 2 thumbs on his right hand.
Really?
Yeah, son of
He stole your thumb.
yeah, asshole.
Wait,
Yeah, like
so you two didn't know this about one another until you were preteen?
yeah, and so because I didn't meet my birth family until I was my birth father until I was 12. And upon calling my birth mother, like she explained a lot of the things you mentioned at the beginning, you know, funny, charming, community leader and all that. But then she said, because I've been doing this for a long time, she mentioned, oh, he was born without a thumb. And he said, I know where it is. And she hasn't seen this guy since conception, you know, the Blessed Conception. And so she kind of brushed it off as, you know, my birth family is also from Browning, so Browning, Montana, which is the Blackfeet Reservation. So she kind of brushed it off as, you know, reservation voodoo, or, you know, maybe he's just, you know, he's gone places in his life, or so. But he kept insisting that yes, I know where Michael's thumb is, and that's when she said, Mark, okay, where is it? And my brother Jesse was born with 2 thumbs on his right hand. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. It took us a few years. I really hated him. Because you have siblings take your toys and like your clothes, and it seems like a big deal. But to like have a digit taken, I did convince him he was young enough to be very impressionable. So I did, because they cut his off. They cut one off.
Oh.
So I convinced him that they cut his off, and every time that he's achieved anything in his life, be it basketball or music, that a part of that credit goes to me.
I get what you're saying. So his second thumb is actually your thumb.
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
third thumb has been removed.
It has been removed. Even as far as nowadays, when he got into, now that he's much older, in reference to, you know, dry humping or mammary with a partner, I take a little, I call him up. I was like, hey, how was last night? I felt that viscerally.
Oh, no!
I'm like, it's a good line.
That's so evil.
And it is. I'm not the person you described.
That's not true. We're all complicated. You're all of those things and more. So tell me about dry humping in your life.
And dry humping in my life?
Or in other people's lives, like your brother's.
Dry humping in my life. I think I've done more dry humping post high school than I did in high school. And I think in the subject of dry humping, it's usually, part of that progression of adolescence. Like you get, those benchmarks.
Coming in your pants.
Yeah, absolutely. And but I think I've been in relationships in recent years, going back 2 or 3, where dry humping was a part of it, was a big part of it for various reasons. And it can be fun. And I'm excited at the timing. I just got back from Burning Man. So I was camping in the deserts of northern Nevada with 70,000 of my closest friends. Very hot, very dry climate. I'm worried that I'm getting sand all over your couch. But yeah, I did a fair amount of dry humping there. Just because of the environment that we were in. Everything was dry.
Yeah.
But...
Do you like dry humping? Do you feel like it's part of the whole meal that tastes just as delicious? Or do you feel like it's just an appetizer building up to something bigger?
No, I really enjoy dry humping. I'm with a partner right now who, for various, I think the first 6 months of our relationship we were kind of limited to dry humping because it was my first adventure in polyamorism. And we were very much into each other, but they were with a partner and had been for a long time. So I was the addition to that relationship. And
Fun.
But yeah, a learning experience definitely for me. I was very aware of how I felt about the person and knowing that I wanted to pursue a relationship with them. And this was a variable that I'd never encountered before, but and really wanted to learn about. But the intimacy came with, it wasn't just you and another person. It was you and another person and their partner. So it was a progression. It was okay, this is what we're comfortable with, and we've talked about when you hang out with that other person. And so yeah, for a while it was a lot of dry humping.
That sounds super hot.
And there was an added knowing that you could only go so far, made it, because I think, as what we said, as you get older, it's not something, I think most people associate with adulthood. They don't associate dry humping with adulthood. So you don't spend a lot of time being creative or enjoying it. But when it's as far as you can go, it forces you to be creative and really enjoy that process, knowing that it's not gonna go into, nobody's taking their clothes off and you're not gonna, have that intercourse or the foreplay. We had a lot of fun.
It's also safer.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
You're not having to worry about as many sexually transmitted infections or unintended pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean, barring like zippers and and things like that, and strange knots in your clothes. Yeah, it's much safer.
So, do you have pro tips?
I don't know, just taking your time and enjoying being in the moment. That's kind of an overused phrase a lot of times, but I did just come from Burning Man. So just be in the moment. It's your journey. Like however you want to dry hump, I can't tell you how to dry hump. Like my dry hump isn't your dry hump. But yeah, an experiment with clothing. I think that's something I started to do. Was you can only go so far with the clothes on, but how many different kinds of fabrics exist in the world, and what fabrics feel better than other fabrics. So dry humping can be fun wherever, but put on a pair of silk pants or really soft flannel or track pants. Get away from the denim. Corduroy, probably, unless you're into small fires, probably stay away from corduroy. But again, if you're into it.
So now we know we could make some judgments about people who wear pajama pants all the time. It's like, oh, they're just prepared for dry humping.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They're smart. They're not lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A onesie. I haven't done that. That would be something I'd like to experiment with, is like the dry humping in a onesie.
Ooh.
Might be fun.
Well, lots of onesies, though, have zippers.
That's true. And they are kind of, yeah. Maybe you wear it backwards, like
Yeah.
crisscross onesie.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're humping
crisscross will make you
backside.
hump. The any 90s kids that listen will laugh at that.
They'll appreciate it.
Yeah, they'll appreciate the 90s reference.
I am thinking about dry humping examples in my own life, and one of them that comes up is as a receptive partner for a lot of the sexual behaviors I do, I'm just exhausted. Like, I don't want something in my vagina or my mouth or my ass, or like, just I want to fuck something.
Yeah.
I want to be the one that's plowing and ramming and more aggressive there, because with a vagina, I have to have a govern on that kind of says, okay, you can only go so deep, otherwise you're going to puncture my cervix. And with the penetrative experience, I think there's so much more liberty to go all out. So I remember just asking a partner to roll over on his stomach, and then I would hump his backside as if I had a dick or a dildo or whatever it was. I didn't need one, but just to have that humping, thrusting movement was such a turn on.
Nice.
Felt great. I highly recommend.
I'm going to try that. And it feels good for, depending on your partner's, if you have a penis. If you're on your stomach, you're still rubbing it on the floor.
Hopefully in bed, Michael.
Or in bed, or something. Futon.
Yeah.
We are a college town, so most likely it'll be a futon.
Like, the pain of humping a carpet.
Pain of humping a carpet. It's not that painful, actually.
No?
I mean, I know the episode is about dry humping, but I think those of us with penises, if we're honest with each other, we all rubbed it on the floor when we were masturbating as a kid. Like, whether it was the bed sheet or, just laying on the floor. You never know when you're going to roll over or, like, shift, and you'll be like, oh, okay. That feels nice. And then when you're a kid, you just keep doing it. I definitely got rug burn a couple times.
Yeah.
See, I can never run for office after this podcast.
I think you could. I think it
think-
actually improves your chances.
Well, yeah, because really anybody can run for office now, can't they?
Oh.
Because that's what they told us when we were kids, is you could be president too.
Yeah. And yeah, here we are.
And here we are.
Any other dry humping stories you have? Anecdotes?
Anecdotes. I don't know. I think we did, not just because of the amount of sand in the desert, but the lack of showers and cleanliness. That was definitely like second half of the week at Birmingham. Dry humping was more practical because it was like you're camping for 10 days with no way to clean yourself. A lot of baby wipes, but you're sharing porta potties and you're sweating all day, and so yeah, it's just easier to dry hump in the desert than it was to.
And you're a pro, so you.
Yeah, I mean it was very nostalgic for both of us because we haven't done it in a while.
Did you get to teach any workshops to your 70,000 friends?
No,
Like, this is how to dry hump?
No workshops. That would be a good. It's a good idea for next time. The only workshop we did was French toast.
What's French toast?
So our camp there's nothing sexual unless you wanted it to
I was
be.
like, ooh!
Like anybody could be, anything could be sexual at Burning Man because it's your thing. But no, there is no monetary, there's no exchange system there except you can buy bags of ice. Everything else you have to bring or gift. It's a big gifting culture. So our camp was Go French Yourself.
Okay.
So we were Camp Go French Yourself, which meant in addition to us, everybody in camp bringing what they needed to survive for a week, we also packed all of our vehicles full of bread, almond milk, and eggs. And every morning, whatever that meant for us at Burning,
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
we made French toast and, by the loaf and just handed it out to everybody that walked by and invited people in. And, their camps had different themes. So, later in the day, we'd walk over there and we could get a drink, or they'd have, there was one that had frozen watermelon, which saved my life a couple times. But yeah, so that was the experience.
Sounds magical.
It is. It's really fun. We experimented with savory French toast, which so we did chili and bacon French toast.
Ooh.
It was very nice. Yeah.
See, at the beginning, I wasn't sold on Burning Man, especially with the lack of hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard for me. But
There are
the trading system is beautiful.
There are some ways to do it. This year we camped. This is my second time, but this year we were camped across from a sauna. So these people brought a yurt and created a sauna, which is very counterintuitive in a desert.
Right.
Where it's 100 degrees and dry every day. But you go in there for about 10 minutes and you're... this time I really experimented... didn't make it with the orgy dome. Didn't make it to the orgy dome. But as far as like body comfort and being naked with a lot of other people around, I definitely pushed my boundaries more this time. So like in the sauna, it was a completely naked environment, and you'd get in there with 10 other people, and you'd be in there for a few minutes, and the water you could spray and you could soap a little bit. But then when you emerged out of this sauna into the desert, it felt like afternoon in November in Missoula. It was,
My goodness.
and you were like, "This is amazing. I feel cleaner." And they also had the last day I went through. We were in the neighborhood at Burning Man, so a lot of our neighbors. We were next to the Big Gay Sheep, which was an art car that was a sheep. You could slide down the anus into the art car, and it was a lot of fun. But they also had a lot of transgender and non-binary camps around us that experimented with. My partner went through a rebirthing thing, so they crawled through a vagina.
Wow.
And were met by people on the other side, saying, "Hey, welcome to the world. You're beautiful," and things like that. And they really did, like the camps were, there was a lot of camps that really wanted you, and the whole experience is experimenting with gender and pushing those boundaries that you hold yourself to or others do anywhere else, because it's commonplace to see men in skirts and men in experimenting with dress and being
Right.
And the nakedness, which I think is a stereotype that a lot of people are aware of Burning Man. But I think the body acceptance is what I really like, because everybody, there's a lot of beautiful people, but in a town of 70,000, there's all different body types, and there doesn't seem to be any judgment on, this is good, this is bad. It's, being able to be comfortable with what your body is around all of these other people. So those aspects were really cool.
So I should go.
Yeah, I think you should absolutely go.
Everyone should go.
Everybody.
Not everyone.
Not. I wouldn't say everybody. Bill Cosby probably shouldn't go. Would be one just off the top of my head. You probably shouldn't go anywhere.
That makes me sad when you say it, because I know how much you loved him before.
Yeah. I am starting I still support the Huxtables campaign.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's not Rudy's fault.
No.
It's not.
And I think that show is really valuable in terms of teaching about diversity and lifestyle and people, morals.
Absolutely. And Cosby didn't even write that. He was just an actor. But yeah, my plan, I've told people for a long time, if I have children, is not to teach them anything, but just to have every episode of Cosby.
The Cosby Show.
Yeah, and as things come up, I will say, sit down. Here's the corresponding episode and life lesson that you need to learn right now.
This show is going to raise you.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
That's a clever idea. I feel like I was raised in part by the Huxtables.
Yeah.
They're a great family. So one more exciting interruption. This one is for group Kegels.
Main squeeze it good.
A Kegel is when you clench the pubic coccygeus muscles, the pelvic flooring in your body that prevents you from defecating and urinating. And it will improve your sex life.
You don't come as quickly.
Right.
For
Or
male.
you
And
can
a lot of people
come
aren't
when you
aware.
want to.
I've educated many a male counterpart on the fact that there are male Kegels and
Good for
penile
you.
and anal Kegels.
Good for you.
Yeah, I actually did a lot of them in the desert, not to constantly talk about it, because it's a big. You have to bike everywhere, and I'm not good with the biking. I missed that day. So my buddy, Sugar Slim is his name. He rigged a lawn chair, a foldable lawn chair, on the back of like a cart, he took the cover off of like a kid's cart. So he drug me around, facing backwards in this lawn chair. So it was very much like I was sitting on the porch, but he was,
That's
looking at.
amazing.
And it was amazing. And I told him just like a moral support. I was like, I appreciate all the physical effort you're doing to get me around Burning Man. And I want you to know that while you're pedaling, I'm doing Kegels. I just got done with a set of 10. Just because I don't, I want to experience that physical exhaustion as well.
my gosh.
So, that was my solidarity moment.
Way to work out.
Way to work out.
So let's do some of that.
Fitbit. There's an idea. Kegel Fitbit.
Kegel Fitbit.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, somebody
Okay.
get on that. In the meantime, what we're going to do is every time there's a moan, you'll clench your PC muscles and
Okay.
relax them.
Okay.
And so I'm going to insert moans throughout this description of adamandeve.com, who is our sponsor for part of the podcast.
Cool.
Adamandeve.com is an online store for adults to buy toys and gear for their sexual adventures. Dildos, strokers. See, I am actually doing Kegels right now, and I'm like, I am going to have an orgasm right here. Okay, vibrating cock rings, playful sex games, and cushions to prop up your partner for new sex positions. They're all available online at their website, adamandeve.com. When you use promo code SEXPOD at checkout, they'll sweeten the deal with 50% off any one eligible item and ship your fund for free if you live in the U.S. or Canada.
Ugh. Whoa. Yeah, I didn't stretch
You
before
didn't?
that.
No, me neither.
I'm tired.
We should figure out a stretch and relaxation pre-Kegel game so that we prep people, then do the workout, then relax.
Or what is it called at the end of yoga when you just kind of like lay there?
I don't know.
Shavasana? Or you just kind of like lay there and like relax for a bit.
Okay, that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, this is really.
People can't see it, but our genitals are going back to homeostasis. Well done, genitals.
Slowly. Namaste.
Namaste. So I have one last question for you. We did an episode on dry humping called Dry Humping Saves Lives, which is why I'm talking with you about it today. And one of the things that came up from that is how penis focused it is, that it's all of these different types of outer course focused on a penis humping something, like the armpit or the neck or the butt cheeks, etc. And I thought it would be cool to hear your thoughts on what kind of dry humping is available when there isn't a penis involved. Because has all of your dry humping involved a penis?
No. Dry humping is definitely a sexual expression. But I think one of the biggest appeals that gets lost in that, when you add the penis to it or the vagina, is just the touch. And as a human being, what you're craving to a certain extent, other than sexual stimulation, is touch, and that's very important. So having your chest pressed up against somebody, back or front, is very comforting and stimulating. And I would say breath at the same time. The breath on your neck or your face, or the getting your lips and mouth very close to each other and feeling that breath without actually kissing or doing those things can be very exciting.
I wonder if you're turning everyone on right now.
I hope so. But those are, I think with a partner I'm with now, and we've incorporated, now that we can, have intercourse whenever we want to or not. We still incorporate some of those things we did when we could only dry hump, and I think the nose is fun, like rubbing each other's noses together, and a sensual kiss on the forehead can be very calming and very, there's a connection there that I think is beyond the penis when you're dry humping.
See, I knew you were the perfect person to talk to about this.
Yeah.
Who should I talk about dry humping with?
Dry humping.
Michael Beers, of course.
Yeah.
He's going to be insightful and entertaining.
Only thing drier than my jokes are my humps.
Is there a good joke that you want to end on?
I should have prepared something, but I don't. I have a joke. It's my new favorite joke I've heard
Ooh.
lately. My little sister told it to me, and she loves it. Why do mice have tiny balls?
I don't know.
Because hardly any of them can dance. Oh, I knew you'd laugh at that, Lindsay.
Oh my gosh. It makes me feel like everything in my mind is connected to sex.
Yeah.
It couldn't possibly be a ballroom ball.
No, exactly. Most people don't get it. They don't get it. Or you get roasted for not being funny. But
I like it.
I think it's it's my new favorite.
Well done to your sister.
Yeah.
Aw, that's fun. Okay, anything else you would like to say for them to know?
No, I mean, thank you for having me on. This is a ton of fun.
Oh, thank you.
And I can't wait to get started on that list of projects, because both of us have an abundance of free time.
But it's important. It's really important to me. And so if I can help you,
Yeah.
that would mean a lot. I would love to. And at no cost, I would just like to
Yeah.
make it happen. And
Well, I think the disability sex revolution is something that we can start together. Because it's a need out there, and possibly a topic for a future podcast. I think it would be great to have some young people in here and talk about it, and invite you on our podcast. We do a bass podcast.
let's do it.
Then we talk about everything under the sun and movies and topics of the day. So
I haven't heard it, but I'm sure it's hilarious.
Absolutely.
And insightful.
we'll trade podcasts.
That sounds fun.
But thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming. I also want to thank Cinema Studios for the production. I want to thank Complexly and Count Boogie, who does our jingles, and Cora Amparo. I'm still learning.